Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a weekly news and review for July 25th, 2021. We got a lot of stuff coming out of this Hong Kong convention, the ACGHK convention. We also have some mainline stuff to look at, some interesting things going on, a lot of things getting clearanced and discounted. There's some Gijoe reveals this week, and a little bit to talk about there, and some Star Wars to talk about. We're going to get into all of this coming up. Starting out with a few things that I see at Show Z that's pretty cool. We've got the Magic Squares Jazz, and that's going to be coming out. That's actually up for pre-order at Show Z right now. $2 down, and more information to come when we get to the Legends section. So there's also this Sentinel Toys Aerialbot Mazinger, and this is a really cool looking figure here. It is $5 down, price unknown. I don't know how much it's really going to cost. It does have plastic, it has die cast, stands a little over 7 inches tall, comes with the figure, a Pliter, the Kaiser Scrander, a giant missile, a Kaiser blade, 2 more. So I got a final blade, 2 more blades, 3 grips, 8 hands, 5 effects, a base, and it comes out second quarter of 2022. And I do want to say that Lemon Tree, the LTO3 Shockwave Purple Potato, is on sale right now for $105. It was originally closer to $130, $128, and it is a pretty good figure overall. I expected it to have more paint on it than it did. That was the downside to it. But the plus side to it is no one else is making this type of figure. Nobody's making the Revenge, and it's a pretty decent Shockwave. So either way, if you bought or alt mode, I like the figure. So rolling into some Masterpiece news, it looks like we're going to be getting a Masterpiece MP55 Nightbird made off of the RC Buck, more or less. So it's going to be a repaint of RC, and I think that's actually a good idea. It looks really good. It would work really well, and I think the mold might actually work even better for this figure. It's real fuzzy photos. It's actually very low resolution right now. We'll probably get a lot more pictures coming up soon, but hey, let's talk about it right now. So we got a reveal of Masterpiece Crosscut, which will be a MP53 Plus, and it's just more or less a repaint. And this is the third repaint of this mold before we get the mold, but it's skids, but silver. I think it looks good, and I don't really know much about the character, but it is definitely going to be something fun to make out of this mold, and I guess try to get the mileage out of that mold, and they definitely will. Wonder if there's more colors coming. Takara recently showed off their Reboost and their skids at the Hong Kong show, and it looks good. They both look good. They look great, and I think that if they continue with this reasonably priced $89 for a Takara car, I'm game. I'm down for it, and I'll probably be picking them all up if they can keep that price in that zone. They're also showing their movie Masterpiece series, MPM12 Bumblebee Movie Optimus Prime, and I'm impressed. I think it looks pretty good. A lot of people believe Toy World is better, will be better. This is not going to hold a candle to Toy World, but we'll have to find out when they're side by side. But what really confuses me is why are they showing off HasLab Unicron? They're not going to be able to sell more HasLab Unicrons, are they? So that confuses. Maybe this is just all for fun and hype, but why would you be hyping a product you can't sell anymore? Speaking of hype, they're hyping up their Thundercracker here, and I gotta say, I think this mold looks great. I've got Starscream on the way. I'm not 100% sure if I'm on board with all of the colors under the sun and colors in the rainbow with these Seekers for a $250 price point, but I do want to start with one and see what I like about it and what I don't like about it and make that decision then. So X-Transbots wanted to toss up another teaser pic of their 86 MX XIX Prosecutor. Now, I gotta say I like their Dr. Egg, and a lot of people had issues with their Dr. Egg or whatever. My Dr. Egg works fine. Everything works perfect on it. I like it. It's great. But I think we'll get the same thing out of this. I'm also hearing it's going to be more expensive than Dr. Egg. So that is kind of a negative point to it. So I'm also curious what other features they're going to have with the tentacles and all of that. There's a possibility of a lot of features that they're going to pack into it. But for a price point that's approaching $200, it's very questionable. So we've got colored pictures of Dream Star Toys, the DST01-001 Sling Shoot. This is the Aerialbot Slingshot, and this is for their Superion that is going to be a bit of a stylized version, still kind of a G1-esque type here, but getting to see the actual figure in color, and it looks really good. Here are some better pics of the entire body. You can kind of see the design and how they're going with it, and kind of the difference between this and what we've gotten with Zeta and what we've already gotten with Fans Toys. Definitely going their own way. I still think it looks really cool. Here we go with the airplane mode, the alt mode, and again, it looks really good. They call it Sling Shoot, so really cool, very close to the accurate naming, but there's a lot of detail that's going into this, and looking at the side versus all the other angles that would kind of cover up this detail, you see this detail from the side, and it looks pretty good. They've also teased this picture of the next one that they're going to be putting out, and they also are showing, this looks to me like it's actual prototype and an actual built prototype. They're very, very far along, I believe, and, well, seems like they're further along than Fans Toys, right? So there are pictures surfacing from Sharktimus Prime on YouTube here about the RoboSyn auto-converting Optimus Prime, and the thing about this isn't so much the pictures or getting it in hand and seeing it, because we've seen what it can do. The thing is, they put up more pre-orders on Hasbro Pulse on the 19th, and of course they sold out already, but I knew they would put more pre-orders up, and I figured this was not a one and done deal. This would be like the beginning of something that's going to happen. I imagine they're going to do more and more and more pre-orders and eventually do different sizes and all that, but those are all speculations. The only fact is they put another round of pre-orders up. So we got pictures of two more of the Moon Studio versions. It's the MSO3 Iron Arm, and it's the MSO4 Moonshine, and these are great prototypes of these figures here. They do look good. They look great. They do look a little bit better than kind of what I would expect from Zeta. So a lot of people say, hey, this is Zeta's design and Moon Studios making them, or under a different name, or another company's making them. But it's like either Zeta has stepped up their game, or this isn't really Zeta's. But still, I'm in on this set no matter what, or where it came from, or how it originated. I think it looks great. Here is the combined mode, which looks really nice. And so I'm taking it, these two figures turn into trains, which we'll see in a bit, and then turn into this combined mode. So we've got the torso cell right here. Very nice. I am excited about this set. I'm in on this set, and I think we're going to get it relatively quickly. Supposed to have it by the end of the year. Here is the train set here, and these trains, they look like trains. They look good to me. This is shaping up to be a really nice set. Looking forward to it myself. So we got a lot of events this week that companies were showing off a lot of the products. So here we go. YOLO Park, the extremely high end with their Optimus Prime here. This is their Optimus Prime Earth mode. Looks really good. This one is actually painted up and closer to done than these other ones. They also showed off a Bumblebee, and he's got some translucent parts to it and stuff. So I actually don't know exactly what's going on with this whole Bumblebee. Will you be able to swap out all the translucent and the non-translucent? So there's still a bit of mystery for me on this one here, but it's still very interesting and definitely a high-end product here. And then we've got, this is the Plamo Optimus Prime, and showing it in grayscale. So they're showing quite a bit off, and they actually did also have their Shockwave, but not really good pictures of it. Flames Toys is also showing off their Rodimus Prime, and it's getting a lot closer to release date here. But this is a non-transformable figure inspired by IDW Lost Light design, and is part of the Flame Toys high-end action figures featuring diecast and some light effects. Same goes for this Leo Prime here, and he's going to be smaller, he's going to be less expensive than the Rodimus, but I don't have the prices just yet. But it's kind of fun to see these things being shown at shows again. Isn't that fun? And Flames Toys is showing their God Power Jet Armor Gray prototype here, and that's what it looks like, armored up there. And this stuff does look good. I like this whole concept of the armor on there, and I like that they're doing it non-transformable, so it's just the armor for this guy. So we've got some pictures of 3-0 and their Bumblebee and the Optimus Prime right here. And this is the MDLX of these versions. This is a new subline of non-transformable high-quality action figures in a new stylized G1 design. Still recognizable as the classic character style. This Bumblebee is more or less a nice representation and a little closer to what I expected Red to be, but I still expect a much different design out of Red even than this. But this is high-end and it's different stylized take. As for the Optimus Prime, he's in all grayscale, so no paint just yet, and he does look pretty good. This is a nice looking one, and it's supposed to be G1-esque, but not 100% G1, and it's in their own pocket, that 3.0 pocket. So we're seeing from Action Toys, Ultimetal, a Rodimus Prime and a Galvatron, and these look great, and they are to be added to the roster from Ultimetal. It's already made an Optimus Prime, an Ultra Magnus, and a Megatron, and yes, super high-end, super duper expensive, but look amazing, and they're big. They're like 17 inches tall, but these figures are from the Japanese Studio Ox design, wide range of articulation, a premium finish, and premium material. So these definitely look good, they look great, and look forward to these if you're in for some serious big bucks. So getting into a little bit of Legends news, we've got some Legends news and more or less just pictures of the actual in-hand Candyman and Bickle, and they look good. I gotta say, the mold is good on this, a little bit kind of broken up on the chest with the articulation there, but it looks good in the bot mode. These are pretty small. These are some tiny figures, and probably that's why they're sold as a 2-pack, but they really win in the alt modes right here. So if you can see how they look in the alt mode compared to their counterparts that they were recolored from, looks great. So we got some pictures of Magic Square and their Jazz. I think it's a really good looking Jazz. I love the Magic Square designs. They do kind of lack in the paint a bit, but I want to say a few things about this. First of all, there is some line work in this. This is the very, very early 3D print. You can tell by the lines that it's 3D printed. Not so much line work, but more of lines from the 3D print. So I think it's going to look even smoother and better when it's done, and of course with the correct colors and the little bit of paint that they put on it. But it's a great design. I absolutely love the way it looks. Looks good in both modes and all that. So I'm excited for this, looking forward to this. And guess what? I've already pre-ordered mine. Okay, so some mainline news here. We're getting into a possible premium finish Studio Series Ratchet and Siege Starscream. So the next two in the premium finish lineup from Takara. And the thing is that I feel like this is best done for figures that are gaining value, getting very expensive and hard to find on, well, either the secondary market or even still some retailers. But I think Starscream is still pretty easy to get for the Siege line. I might be mistaken, but I kind of think he's pretty easy to get. I'm not sure about the Ratchet, but I know that this line does best when some of those figures that are selling for $100 on secondary market, they get that premium paint job, they come out again, it gives people a second chance for it. But these are usually like $55 a piece, and do you want to pay $55 for either of these? So Hasbro's been showing off some stuff at the Hong Kong Fan Expo, and the thing is that they're showing off stuff that not only we've already seen revealed, but that we already have. Like, a lot of the stuff is already available to us, so I'm not really sure exactly why they chose this stuff to show off. But again, this is Hasbro, and Hasbro's got to satisfy a lot of different markets with a lot of different things. So I think it's really fun to see the setup, though. It's exciting, but it kind of leads into the next point. So we've seen some box images of Wreck-Gar and a couple of pictures of different characters trying to ride him, but I picked the best characters trying to ride him. But here we go with Wreck-Gar in his box, and it's exciting. It's coming soon. I don't know. This might be one that people are buying doubles, triples, quadruplicates of because you want to build that army and build it way cheaper than building the Masterpiece army, and that's for sure, and it looks good. Here is Hot Rod riding it. He fits very well on there. Here is Optimus Prime riding a Wreck-Gar. I don't think that ever happened in the movie. Did that happen in the movie? No, that didn't happen in the movie. But anyway, Optimus Prime riding Wreck-Gar. And here we go with Bumblebee riding Wreck-Gar. That seems to fit. All the other ones didn't seem to fit. It's a lot of fun. I think this is Prime versus Prime pictures. So thanks, Prime versus Prime. However you got this early, I love seeing these pictures. So this is Mainline, but it's not transformable. It's a Transformer. It's Megatron. And here's the thing about this. Red line Megatron transformation, and it's not 100% accurate, but it gets the point across. You get the feel for a decent price, $20 or whatever. He's a bit shorter than the regular transformable versions. But I do want to point something out here. In the interest of the sticklers that want everything to be absolutely perfect and accurate, which, well, that's me sometimes, I have to admit, This is kind of a blend between a couple of different scenes, but it's not really that accurate. It still looks good. It gets the point across. You can kind of see what they were going for right here with these pictures, and yeah, it's good enough. It works, but I think this is kind of leading to something else. Here is the packaging, front and back, and while you take a look at that, I do want to point out at Walmart.com, the first version of the red Megatron is on sale for $12. Now, I went ahead and ordered one because $12, pretty good deal. I've been waiting for these things to go on clearance. I figured they'd be clearance down to like $5 by now, but they haven't. I'm not really sure why, but they're still at pretty much all the Walmarts all over my area. So I'm waiting for that sale, $12 for the original one of this, and it makes sense. Megatron's the only one on sale, and they got a new Megatron on the way. Wonder if they've got plans for another Optimus Prime, or are they going to do Galvatron in this style, or any of that kind of stuff. Kind of curious what's coming up. Yes, there is the Optimus Primal also coming in the red line with 30 points of articulation, detailed paint, and this thing looks pretty good. It looks like you'd expect. It's kind of one of those things, though. We're getting this guy in the vintage style packaging. We've already got him in the Kingdom, and we've got him in a 2-pack at Walmart with the Walmart Netflix series. Now we're getting him in this. And it's a little bit of overkill for the character, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Oh, did I mention the price increase to $22.99 on these? So we got some pictures of Voyager class version of the Beast Wars, or actually the Kingdom Tigatron. And here's the inbox image. It looks good. This guy is bigger than Cheetor, so instead of just copying Cheetor, repainting it, they upscaled it, made it a little bit different. I've been hearing this is an all-new mold. I don't know 100%. I really do need to watch the Prime versus Prime comparison, his video there, because he does show everything. He does a great job over there, and I need to be a little bit more in the know on this guy, but there are some pictures, and I do appreciate the way it looks. So here is the alt mode, and that shows what he looks like in his alt mode. Looks good. Looks like I would expect. And I really think they're doing a good job with the Kingdom and these Beast Wars figures. I think some of the Beast Wars figures are hits and misses. There's some better ones in the past that they made, but for the most part, most of them are the best representations we've gotten so far. I believe this one is that. And this shows size comparison. This guy's big for a Voyager and way bigger than we got with Cheetor, so you get a lot more out of your extra $10 there, so looks good. While we're talking about Beast Wars and Kingdom and all that stuff, don't forget that July 29th, if you have Netflix, then you can watch the Kingdom show. I believe you'll be able to watch it all. You can binge it all in one evening if that's what you choose to do. I think a lot of people do that, actually. But if you don't have Netflix, well, maybe go to a friend's house that does. So we're finding some buzzworthy Bumblebees at retail, and that is really awesome that it's already showing up. I think it looks really good for what it is. I mean, we're not seeing perfection here, but it looks good for what it is. Compared to what we already got with the Netflix Bumblebee, which was alright. It was alright. It was not 100% perfect either, but it was good for what you got for $20. Well, with this one here, you've got the chest looking very, very toon accurate, and the head looks good. Everything looks good on this guy in bot mode except the lower legs, and I bet you could just pop those pieces off if that bothers you too much, and I would say pop those off, possibly even repaint some stuff. But anyway, this looks pretty good for what it is. And then moving into side-by-side comparison of these guys, it seems like the Cybertronian mode here compacts better than the Earth mode. There's good and bad about each figure. There's pluses and minuses to each figure, but still, it's quite a worthy addition to a Bumblebee collection. I think most people that get this figure will display it like this. I'm looking forward to getting this guy. So we got two more buzzworthy 2-packs. There's the Bumblebee and Drop Kick, and then there's the High Octane Bumblebee and Decepticon Stinger in there. So these 2-packs, they look pretty cool. That's pretty much all I got to say about them. It's an interesting line. Transformers is really a robust line, delivering so much right now. So we got some in-hand images of the Transformer Collaborative, the J Balvin X Transformers J Balvatron, and it includes the Vibra Stripes and Inner Jaw Buzzsaw, which is basically Laser Beak and Ravage, and it's yellow. It is the exact same mold as the G1 Soundwave, but it's yellow, and it's pretty interesting. Here it is in the alt mode, and this thing can be bought at the NTWRK platform for 70 bucks, and it releases in October. So we got some Studio Series reveals here. This is the Leader class Grindor with Ravage, and looks a lot like Blackout to me, but okay, it's Grindor. Looks pretty good. It fits the part. It does the job. Here's Deluxe class Bumblebee, of course, sporting that Camaro look, so it looks pretty good in that. That alt mode looks good. It comes with a little character that's just a static character in a running pose. We got Deluxe class Jolt, and that is a really nice looking blue on it, and I hope it has a nice reflective, shiny surface to it too, kind of like the picture shows. Looks good. And we got a Voyager class Thrust also, so it's kind of got that green and gray look to it. So before we get into other news, and in other news, we have a few clearance things going on that I'm finding all around, and I've talked about the clearance stuff here, but if you're into NECA and you're into the Back to the Future, we got Doc Brown at Walmart showing up for 15 bucks at some Walmarts, and almost all Targets, this version of Marty is $9, and you got to act fast at Target because they will damage them out or whatever they do to them and just get rid of them if they don't sell after so long. One thing about buying clearance items, I'm going to show you another clearance set though, is you usually get Dit and Ding and the boxes are a bit messed up, so they're great openers to put in your display if that's what you want to do. Also, Walmarts are clearancing out the retro collection of Ghostbusters, which is a bit of a surprise because we haven't even seen the retro collection Ghostbusters Ecto 1 yet, and I thought they'd have more stuff planned with a new movie coming out and all that stuff. But $9 each. These are definitely good ones to get for $9, and I left the price tag on one so you can see I'm not making it up, but some Walmarts are still charging like 11 something, so you got to kind of scan it and see what it is. Some people are playing the wait and see on this game. In the wait and see, you're going to end up with bent up, mangled, really bad packaging on yours, but if you don't care, then you can hold out. So looking at some G.I. Joe news this week, we've got some Mezco 1/12 Collective G.I. Joe Firefly teased, and it looks like it's pretty good. Mezco does some really good stuff, and they're usually like $90 or $100 for the figure, I believe. They use soft goods and all that. Be interesting to see how this looks when it's done, the whole figure. I'm looking forward to that. So Hasbro has announced through the Walmart event that there's the retro collection version of the Cobra Officer and the Cobra Trooper, and other things too. We already knew of some of these because, well, we already bought them at Walmart, so we knew they were out, but they're coming out with even more, so I'm kind of curious about the case packing and the waves and all that stuff. But here we go with the Officer and the Trooper, side by side. I think these are going to sell really well because they are troop builders. So there's also a Grunt, and I guess the Grunt figure is going to be a troop builder too in a way if you want to have some background characters, but for the most part most people just get a Grunt, a 1982 Grunt, and put it on their shelf, call it a day. And of course we've already known about Stalker because, well, Stalker's been at Walmart's, but here he is, and I'm hoping they do use the stiffer card backs. The card stock is thicker like they said they're going to do with the vintage collection stuff. And the last thing is the His 3, and I gotta say, they're doing some crazy stuff with the vehicles. It's like the vehicles come, they get clearanced, and another one shows up, and that one gets clearanced quickly, and then now we got a blue His tank. It's just strange what they're doing with the vehicles. I anticipated a whole different approach to it, but what do I know? But here we go, we got the His 3, a blue His tank. Kind of cool, I guess, if you're into this. How many different color His tanks are they put out? I mean, I'd like to see Trouble Bubbles, and I'd like to see some Fang. Well, we got the Fang claws and a few other things before a blue His tank. So getting into some Star Wars news, the Black Series reveals this week that came out of the Walmart thing. I believe it was from the Walmart thing. I don't know. I didn't really keep up with that as well as I probably should have, so I missed all the pre-orders. Hopefully I find them in the store, or I just quit collecting Star Wars. But anyhow, we have this Black Series. This is the ARC Trooper Captain with the red, and I believe it's literally just going to be a reissue of what we've already gotten before, but slightly different paint apps. But they didn't show us a picture of what you're pre-ordering, but it sells out with no picture. We're also getting a Grievous, and I don't think it's going to look like... I don't think this Clone Wars thing is going to look like this. It's going to look more like what they already put out. Slightly different soft goods, I guess. But I don't think they're going to change it all up. Maybe a different head. Who knows? But they still didn't show it to you before they put the pre-order. It's so strange. It's just going to be slightly different packaging, I think. But this is from those 5-minute shorts before Clone Wars was ever a thing. They had like a series of 5-minute shorts, and I thought it was poorly animated myself. But now, many, many years later, people are like, well, that was a thing that happened, so let's collect from it. Same thing about Mace Windu with it, and it is kind of... It's going to be Mace Windu again. I don't think they'll change the head. Slight different paint apps, and it's not going to look animated like this to this style, so I don't know. I don't know. If they don't put out a picture, how do you really know? Oh, you really know because they put pictures out of the vintage collection, and in the same Clone Wars style, the pre-Clone Wars shorts style, the Ayla Secura here looks exactly like a regular figure from the movie, not like an animation. So that's what you're going to get in the Black Series, I guarantee it. And then we have the ARC Trooper here, and it looks just like a standard ARC Trooper. It does not look animated, not like an animation style to me. I might be wrong. But I think the packaging is what makes this worthwhile. It is a cool looking packaging, and it's kind of something fun to have in your collection. I will pick these up if I see them. I couldn't pre-order this. It sold out so fast, I couldn't get it. Same with this ARC Trooper Captain, and it's in the vintage collection style here, and I didn't get it. If I find one, I'll get it, but if not, I won't live without it. Maybe I'll just quit Star Wars, who knows. Barriss Offee, and it looks good. This is more of this stuff that is a little bit outside of the mainstream, but I think those things are kind of cool, actually. Battle Droid, I don't know. I didn't even bother with it. I think you could probably still get a Battle Droid, but I didn't bother with it. And then we have the Luminara Ndula, and I did pre-order some of these, and I didn't pre-order all of them, and I think you could still get most of these, aside from the clones, on Walmart.com right now. So, Target.com is putting out some carbonized versions of figures we've gotten before. So this is the Heavy Mandalorian named Paz Vizsla, and I don't know all the lore behind it, and it gets a little confusing, but here we go with the carbonized Heavy Mandalorian. This is the third iteration of the same mold, which I'm not against because I think it looks pretty cool, but it is $37. So there you go. Instead of 30 from the first one, now it's 37. We've got the carbonized Scout Trooper from the Mandalorian, and I was thinking about pulling the trigger on this guy. He's expensive too. I mean, these are all the new price point, and with the carbonized feature, more expensive. Yeah, this one is $26, and wow, it's just getting so expensive to get these things. Same thing with right here with the carbonized Shore Trooper M. I'm not really sure if the carbonized is even really worth it. I think it looks pretty cool, but I also hear it flakes. So we're hearing that this is a register lock item for the Boba Fett Prototype Edition, and you can buy it on the 25th. That's today, so if you have these in your Target, if they've shown up, you can ask about them and possibly get one if this is for you. So let me know what you think about this week's weekly news in review. What else cool stuff went on this week that I didn't talk about? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger out. So let's clean this up. What you got to do is you've got to take this panel, and you have to move the panel here. Hold up a second. Wait, I had that. Let's see if we can figure out how to move that panel. Anyway, there it is. Oh, I made it worse. Didn't think I could have made it. Oh, hey, hold up a second. I'm almost there. I got two things out of line. Getting real close.